Welcome back to my channel at Theatrically Jerry. My name's Jerry, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of our 3-part review on Code's Victory 3 Light Console. So, part 2 of this, we're going to go into user interface because that's the most important part of a light console. And we're going to see what the Victory 3 offers you guys as far as flexibility and advanced options. I will say I have been using this console for a while and it's extremely easy to use. However, there are a lot of options that are for more advanced users like myself. You can do a lot of programming with this. This console, like I said, controls 4 universes, so you do have the ability to control a lot of fixtures with this console, so that's a good thing. You always want room for expansion when you're going to purchase a controller, so this does have a lot of room for expansion. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and show you how to turn on the Victory 3, and then we are going to go into the touchscreen user interface. By the way, this is a 15-inch touchscreen. It's definitely not 16 by 9. It's almost a perfect square. It's not quite. I'd say 4 by 3 aspect ratio, but it allows you to see more, I guess. I'm not really sure, but it is more like a traditional computer monitor and not really for movies, so it's not going to be a 16 by 9, for instance. This is a 16 by 9 monitor. You can see the difference there. But anyways, up here on your upper right is your power switch. So you're going to go ahead and hit that and wait for the console to boot up. It does take about 30 seconds for this console to load, sometimes faster, but it's a reasonable amount of boot time. It's not, I don't find it like extremely long, so you guys will see here because we're doing this live. There you go. So maybe a little less than 30 seconds to load into Code's Graphical User Interface, GUI. Their user interface, I've noticed, because I have used another one of their consoles, the Enigma from Blizzard, Enigma M4. Their user interface is very similar across all of their consoles. So if you learn on one, you can pretty much use the other ones. The only real difference is obviously this offers a lot more options than the Enigma M4. So there are more menus on this, there are more features on this, but it's very similar to the other consoles. And we're going to go ahead and dive into that right now. Alright, so upon boot up, you're going to be displayed your first workspace. That's what Code calls their various different windows that you can set yourself. So I'm in Workspace 1 right now, which I've chosen the layout myself of what I want to be able to view as soon as the console loads. In this case, we have all of my available fixtures up here, so I can just go ahead and select whatever fixture, and as you can see, when they light up blue, that means you've selected multiple fixtures, and you can also release them and they'll turn gray, and gray means that you have selected them in the past, and so that just gives you a reminder that you've picked them before. Otherwise, if you haven't selected them before, they're going to be a dark navy blue. And right below that is a smaller window, which is my groups. As you all know, if you're a light designer or a light tech, or a board operator, groups are very useful because they can select multiple fixtures at once, which I think's great because it saves me a lot of time as opposed to having to go through my fixture list and pick which fixtures I want to program at that time. I also have my DMX 512. This is called a fixture layout window by code. It's very similar to other light consoles in terms of displaying the location of your fixtures. I'll show you guys fixture layout here in a few minutes in a much larger screen, but this is extremely useful, so I do use this a lot. Over here are your options. So we have playback parameters, you can edit your times, your effects, your groups, you can edit presets. One of the things I love about the Victory 3 is your edit labels. As you can see up here, I can actually see what the fixture looks like before I even know what fixture I want or what fixture I'm selecting. These are actual real images of the fixtures that I've uploaded myself via this USB port over here. So like I can see just by looking at the picture, I have my Blizzard atmosphere. This is my Tour Haze machine. I have another Blizzard fog machine right here. This is the Atmosphere 221B. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my 36 by 1 watt LED bars. I have 4 of my sheds, or SHDS as I've been calling it. These are my zoom LEDs. So these are just basic par cans, but they have a zoom function. I have 2 of my smart fixtures right here, fixtures 12 and 13, and I can select them and know what they are just by looking at the little clip art. But you can also, if you don't want to use pictures, you can draw or scribble or do anything with colors like you can on other consoles. I'm not going to get into that right now, but you can do that. Down here, these bars are very similar to other light consoles in terms of they're showing your faders down below, your playback faders, 1 through 15 obviously. So if you have stuff stored on this, it's going to display down here. Right here is your wheel information, wheels A, B, and C. Down here is almost like in Windows, like Windows 11 or whatever. Basically, this is like a taskbar, so you can select certain tasks or functions. They are also available as physical keys. They're called your F1, F2, F3, F4, and F5 keys. I did ask why F5 has nothing in it from code, and they said they just haven't programmed something into that function key yet. So I'm hoping in an update they'll have some very useful thing to select there. But for right now, it's empty. This goes all the way to F7. However, your physical keys only go to F5. So these 2 extra functions you can only select on the touchscreen. We're going to actually go here on this touchscreen right now, and I'm going to go to Workspaces. Now, your Workspaces, you can store up to 8, and they call back all of the windows you've programmed into each workspace. So my workspace 2, for instance, is, like I said, my DMX 512 fixture layout, which I said I was going to show you guys in a larger screen. So over here are the options. We have move, reset, drag, and DMX. You have your zoom function here. You can also use your wheel D to zoom in and out. Now, right now, I have these laid out in a straight line, but you can actually select these fixtures and move them up or on the side or actually into different areas. You can program areas, and you can program these fixtures to be exactly where they are live on stage by doing that. So then when you zoom out, you can actually get a better idea, like say on your stage left wing over here, you can actually have a bunch of your fixtures down here. You can have them going this way, vertical, or if you have fixtures over there that are going horizontal, or even both, you can organize them over here and over here, of course. And you can do your electrics up here and down here as well for your main stage if you want, or if you have a really advanced setup for your stage, you can actually do areas as well, and view different areas if there's going to be way too many fixtures on one screen. Up here is a little settings cog, and if you click on it, you can see that it gives you a different view of your fixture layout. If you don't want the actual images, it's just going to show you the fixture numbers. Right now this isn't very useful to me, obviously. It's just showing me how many fixtures I have, but if you come over here and you hit DMX, now it shows you in yellow the universe your fixture's in, as well as the starting DMX address for each fixture. Extremely useful for that. You can select them here and program them from this window. See down below pops up. Yellow means they're selected, white means they're not. You can actually drag and select a bunch of fixtures like that, and also unselect them. You can hit drag on here, and that just means you can drag this window with your fingers if you don't feel like using these, which they're kind of cumbersome, these, so the drag fixture option was great. You have a reset button too. You can reset the view of your window to default, but you're going to use this a lot, so this is a great feature. If you guys are wondering what this does up here, this is a recenter button. I hit that, it recenters to basically what my center stage is, or my center of my light fixture rig. Alright, so that's Workspace 2. Workspace 3 has all my presets. These are presets for the fixtures I have programmed right now. You can actually do quite a bit of preset programming on this console. I'm scrolling down, look at this. You can do 600 different presets for fixtures, so this console's quite capable of running a show, a theatrical show, a DJ show. It's not a grandma, obviously, but it is capable of running shows. It's also very reliable in terms of running. I've not had too many problems with it. The console hasn't randomly shut off on itself or anything, so I would trust running this on your shows. Workspace 3 is right here. Workspace 4 is my color presets. For color presets, it's just preset colors, obviously, for your fixtures. You can do 144 color presets. We have Workspace 5, which I like to use a lot, which is your color picker. It's pretty self-explanatory. You have a crosshair here and you can pick your color, and over here you can pick the brightness value of the color from black to the brightest. So I'm not going to go too much into that because a lot of consoles have that, but I do like that this one has it. It's great. Workspace 6 is something I use a lot as well, and it's called DMX View, and it shows all of the DMX channels in my universe, so I can see what's going on live. the displays will update live. So each of your DMX values from 0 to 255 are going to display live, and it also show you what channel that is. So I did hit clear, and as you can see, all of these came up. When you hit clear on this console, I don't know if you could see over here, you do have options. There's clear fixtures, clear all presets, clear all effects. The clear mode I have set to default. When you do hit clear, it does clear the fixture. However, some values are still on, obviously, as you can see, because they're built into the DMX fixtures profile for locating your fixture. So these are locate values, but when you hit clear, the fixture's off. You can do clear modes. I have it on default. You can do normal. It has to do with your higher and lower precedent values. So whichever one takes highest, I believe, stays, and the lowest gets wiped out. So that's going to show up here. I wish it was an actual clear button where I hit clear and the entire thing clears out, so I don't have values. So when I'm programming, I don't have a color value stuck on a fixture that I don't know about because the fixture is not on, because I cleared it because its dimmer is off. So you got to be careful with that, I guess, but I'm not sure if there's a way around that yet. Workspace 7 is something I have chosen, and I'm going to show you guys how to choose what windows you want to view in your workspace. Workspace 7 shows my dimmer presets, which you do have on here, and you can obviously scroll down all your dimmer presets. I have my this is a 4x4 window, so it's just 4 displays on one screen. I have dimmer, my color preset, my gobo, and my beam presets I can select from here. Workspace 8 are my user effects, so the effects I've programmed for my fixtures show up here. You can program 240 user effects. Right now I have 0. If you ever do want to program effects, you can just hit the effects button and it will come up into your effects window. And this is where you program all your effects for your fixtures. But I'm not going to go into that right now. That's a whole nother video because that's going to take a while. So anyways, there's that. I'm just doing the most important things about the light console that you need to know right now on the user interface. So we're actually going to go back to my default workspace over here, and I'm going to get out of my effects window, and I'm going to show you guys, we'll go to workspace 2, how you can set up different windows for a workspace. So I just X'd out of my DMX live view, and now I have a blank workspace. You just tap, and now you have all these options for what you want to view in your workspace. So if I want to view fixtures, it pops up. Now, if you don't want this aspect ratio of this particular window, you can actually tap up here. Well, it doesn't really want to do that. Okay, here we go. When it turns red, that means you have it selected, and you can drag to make the window a full screen or bigger. You could do your macro shows. You can set these up however you want. You could put as many things in this window as you want in any display format you want. So that is basically how you're going to program your workspace. Very simple, the layout. Select it, drag and drop, easy. I'm obviously not going to save this workspace, so I'm going to go back to here, and that workspace that I just did was not saved, so I go back to the one that I actually had programmed, which is my fixture layout. All right, so next important thing on the Victory 3 is the setup key, and when you hit setup, you are displayed a bunch of options and other menus. We have console options, system manage, and DMX network. Also a touch calibrate down below, but it doesn't have its own main selection. It just has a sub. So touch calibrate, you're not going to use that very much. Console options, you have console manage, date and time, MIDI or MIDI. I don't know how you guys say it, but I say MIDI. Settings, key backlights, fader, change language. Console manage has playback go plus and go minus. It's enabled. You can disable it. We have quick palette. You can enable or disable it. Quick palette is when you select the fixture and you hit the color down here. Whatever wheel your color is, if you select it, it's going to show you a quick palette, so you can do select whatever color you want. Playback LED is enabled. You can disable it if you want. Mine's enabled. Skip macro show start time, disabled for me because I don't really use macros that much. I know that's scary, but I don't. I can though. This has a in, out, and through MIDI, so I could, but I don't. At the moment, I don't need it. User settings, we have your DMX 512 refresh rate. I have it set to the default, which is 37 Hertz, because none of my fixtures are picky, and I'm happy they're not, because that would be a headache. But you can select whatever hertz you need to make your fixture run appropriately. Attribute display equals internal data. You can actually select this, and you can hit %, decimal, or internal. So that's how it's going to show you the values down here. Some people prefer it to say 100%. Some people prefer it to say the values from 0 to 255 for their DMX. I have it set to internal, so it's going to display whatever's programmed into the fixture profile. Anyways, there's that. This is pretty explanatory. Date and year. So over here we have our key backlight. This is going to allow you to set up the backlight for your actual physical keys on the console. Right here you have a slider, or a fader I should say, and you can see it's adjusting the value for the brightness of your backlight keys. Your backlight color, this is your main color that displays on the console. So I have mine set to green. You can also pick a red or an orange. When you select a physical key, it highlights, when I select mine, it highlights orange. You could also pick green or red. So there's a little customization to this light console. You can also hit fader backlight, and that is going to display your 15 playback faders. Right now I have mine set to a default of blue because I like the color blue, but if you hit this, you can actually select any color in the rainbow as your default color for your playback faders. If a playback fader is used, it can turn a color. I decided to use red, as in caution, it's used, don't use it. And then I chose a lime green for when it's activated. So you can do that, and they're very useful visual cues. So I like that code included that on the Victory 3. change language is pretty self-explanatory. You have English and Chinese. You can pick either or. Touch calibrate is explanatory. You're going to get a crosshair and you touch it and it calibrates the touchscreen. But you're probably never going to have to use that. At least I haven't had to. Under System Manage, you manage your upgrades. So you can manage the upgrade of the Victory 3 for new firmware. Down here it shows me what firmware model I'm running, and also the date of my fixture library. So you can do that. Hit return there. You can do manage your fixture library. This is something you're going to use a lot. I do. It's for your custom fixtures. When you want to write your own profiles, you can, and you can also write them on the Victory 3. You don't need to use a separate profile editor. As you can see, you can pretty much set everything from attribute, name, the DMX channel, the fine, page and wheel. I have this on page 2 of wheel A. You can set a locate value for a DMX channel. You can also do sub attributes for an attribute. So this one has 2, obviously. You can add as many as you want. You can click them, edit them, delete them, whatever you want to do. It's capable of being its own fixture profile editor, so you don't actually need a separate one. I do prefer the one that I use, which is the Personality Builder by Avolites. But I have used this before, and it's just as good. So yeah, anyways, this is your manage your fixture library for fixture profiles that you do not have internally. Over here is something you're going to use a lot too. That is your DMX network options. So you have network settings. Right now my network settings are displayed. You can set your IP address, your net mask, and your gateway IP for the Victory 3. You can also hit this down here, wireless hotspot, and it's going to turn into a wireless hotspot for Code's app. You can control this from your phone, so your Android or your iPhone can act as a digital console. So you don't actually need to be here, and it does pretty much everything the Victory 3 physical console does. I will do a separate review of that so you can actually see what the app looks like. It's a pretty useful app feature, so I also love that they included that, because this wireless hotspot usually comes on more expensive consoles, but Code includes it with this, which I love. You can get out of there. Network protocols. As you can see, I have 4 DMX lines. You can set a subnet and a universe to it. It will also display if it's active. Right now my Artnet is disabled because I'm using DMX 512, the 3-pin out on the back. But I do also use a Artnet node to control all my universes. So when I do, I just hit enable and apply, and then I'm in Artnet. Remote control is for controlling the console remotely with the app. So those are all the important things under your setup physical key to control the Victory 3. We are now going to look at the actual physical keys on here so you can see how the physical keys are laid out and what you're capable of selecting. So we're going to go ahead and look at those now. Code has laid out the physical keys on the Victory 3 neatly, as you can see. This allows for very quick programming, which I love. They also have a great sound to them, like a clicky sound. like you'd want on your light console. So the layout for this is most everything you're going to be using is on your right. So it's great for right-handed people. And on your left are your physical playback faders. So they're all laid out here 1 through 15. And underneath each one are buttons that I'll explain what they do later. But right now I want to do the more important keys, so that's going to be everything over here on the right side. Let's take a look at all the actual physical keys that are included with the Victory 3. The Victory 3 has what I like to call a typical light console layout. So up above here is your attribute banks right here. So we have your dimmer, tilt pan, color, color mix, gobo 1, gobo 2, beam, effect, control, and your locate key. Those are all stored on the very top of the banks here. Your bank 2 has your function keys like I explained earlier, F1 through F5. It has a select tool. Your keyboard, you do have to hit this keyboard button every time you want a physical, or a, shouldn't say physical, but a digital keyboard to pop up. You can't actually connect a physical keyboard to this console. You have copy, move, and delete, which are pretty self-explanatory. Your third bank, which is the one below this, is setup. You're going to use this a lot. Backup. I hope you guys use your backup a lot. I know I do. I hit it a lot because you don't want to lose anything. Save to queue for when you're creating cues. Edit playbacks for when you're editing your playbacks or recording a playback. And patch when you're patching your fixtures, obviously. But you hit the patch button and it's going to go into the patch screen. Over here we have, this is going to be for running shows. So you have your pause, your go minus, and your go plus. Those are physically linked to the show window on the Victory 3. And right below that is a previous, next, and arrow buttons for navigating the user interface. And next to that is another very important bank, which is your numerical keypad. And like most, it has your exit button, a clear. This clear button gets hit a lot. Backspace, this is for the keyboard mainly. Through for when you're recalling fixtures or calling out fixtures. Shift, this shift button does various different things, including changing the backlights for your keys. They do include the hotkey functions, and that's the shift button's definitely one of those. You have an at button, so at full, at full or whatever. There is no full button on here. I'm not sure why. Your plus and minus, and your enter button. So that's the numerical keypad. It's on the right side of the Victory 3. Right above this, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. All of these is the most important button. I'm going to see if I can't zoom in to this. So this button right here is a very important button. That's your store button. When you hit store, it's going to store obviously your show or your programming. And nothing's going to pop up when you hit it, but it will store it. So it's great for constantly hitting without disrupting what you're trying to program. So this is an extremely important button, and that's why they included it by itself all the way at the top here. So hit that a lot so you don't lose your precious time anyways, we're gonna go swing this on over here to your playback faders and their buttons. Gotta move my camera over, obviously. Let's go. All right. So there are a lot of physical buttons above and below your playback faders. Some of these buttons act as basically a go button for your playbacks. There are also buttons for starting a queue. So say you can actually store your shows in the playback faders. So if you have 6 queues on here, you hit go, Q1's gonna go. It's gonna show you on the screen which queue you're in each fader, which I love because it's always nice to know what queue you're in. So you can hit those and it's gonna go. You can also hit any hotkey 1 through 15 to start a playback, and as soon as you release it, it's going to stop the playback. So that's also another option if you don't want to use your built-in faders, obviously. Next to that, all the way on the very left of the Victory 3 are some more very important buttons. That would be your blackout button, which they call a function button because you can assign various different things that will trigger when you hit this button. It can be a blackout button, it can be a strobe button, so you hit it, everything lights up, you let go, it goes away. When you hit this function button as well, it's going to show you on the screen a different view instead of your wheels, because sometimes you don't really need your wheels when you're doing a show that you've already programmed. You can hit this and it will get rid of those and give you a little more real estate on the screen, on the bottom of the screen. Over here is your master fader. Above it are your pages, page down and page up. So I'm on page 1. This is going to give me 15 playback faders. Page 2, another 15, and etc. all the way up to 80. So I have 80 pages, each one holding 15 playbacks. So 80 times 15 is a lot of playbacks. I don't know if you're going to use all of them, but some people might. And it's very easy to navigate what page you're on because it's going to display it right here with this very basic red LCD display. And this, you can't actually change the color, so it's always going to be red, but it's red because you're going to notice what page you're in. You're not going to accidentally be on the wrong page, which is great. But that is the keys down below. And we're going to go ahead and pan up here. These are your A, B, C, and D encoder wheels. They are backlit in red and blue. This one you're going to use a lot. It's a clicky one. So when you press down, it means enter. You're going to use this to navigate the user interface a lot. And obviously wheels A, B, and C are for programming your fixtures. Right above that, like I've shown you, is the USB port up here on the left of the screen. That is for saving shows and also uploading your images if you want to do custom profile images of your fixtures, and also for upgrading the firmware, and also for upgrading the internal profile fixtures, which there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of profile fixtures included with the Victory 3. On the left below the USB is a volume dial. It's metal. And underneath that is your headphone jack, because the Victory 3 is capable of playing audio files through your USB for when you're doing your MIDI or MIDI shows or your macros. You can actually play them from the light console instead of having to have a separate sound console, which I think is great because some people want more control of how their lights are going to react to the music, and you can do it through here. There's a separate window for that, but we're not going to get into that. We're just doing a basic overview, but you can do that, and this console does have 2 different sound out options, including an optical sound out, which is great. That's also a standard 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so it's not a bigger one, obviously. Over here, this lights up. It says code. It's a very dim light, but it's a nice touch to the console. Next to it is a 3-pin XLR. For a lamp, they do include a gooseneck lamp LED, and underneath it is another metal volume knob, just like the audio over on the left, and it controls the intensity of your console light. And right below all that is your silk screened Victory 3 and a image of a light fixture, so they have included that as well. And I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but there is a crease here because this is raised upwards, so you can view it better than if it was just right in front of your face. You can actually see more of your show too, so that's good. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe, or you can leave a comment down below, or like this video. I'm all for all 3 or 1 of each, I don't care. I do respond to all comments, so thank you guys for watching.